Yo, if these fries taste as good as they look, y'all, we are in for a special treat.
Let's talk a little bit about there is some basic scripting in Bitcoin as well.
Right.
What would you say the limitations of that scripting are that you feel that couldn't be addressed, that had to be addressed through something like Ethereum?
So Bitcoin scripts have two major limitations. One limitation is this idea of Turing completeness. So Bitcoin scripts are not Turing complete, which means, so specifically, there's no concept of a loop in Bitcoin scripting language. So what that means is that they are extremely restricted. They can't have computation. They can't have computations that do a loop through some data and have like arbitrary complexity. So you can have scripts, but all the scripts have to be guaranteed to run to completion in some very short length of time. So that's one limitation. Then the other limitation is the idea that Bitcoin contracts don't have any state. So a Bitcoin transaction can either be spent or it can be unspent. So like that's potentially, it's viable for something simple like multisig, but when you try to encode some kind of more complicated application, like a decentralized Dropbox contract or a distributed autonomous organization or anything like that, it's really not adequate enough, because something like an organization is going to have a lot more state than just an on-off switch. So with Ethereum, your contracts can have pretty much an almost unlimited different number of states through the contract storage mechanism.
Okay, so to recap, basically, you say that the two major advances that you're going to put into Ethereum on the scripting side is specifically, number one, that your things are Turing complete, which in essence, I mean, for the layman just means we can build loops, right? And loops are critical for...
Yeah, for the layman, Turing completeness means that there are no restrictions. Anything that you can compute in any Turing complete language.
Yes. All right, and then the second one basically is that the states after a script has computed in Bitcoin is either going to be spent or unspent or some combination of that, basically.
Yeah. And,
okay, so
and in Ethereum, contracts can have balances, and they also have this large body array of memory where you can basically put whatever data you want into a contract, and you can change it at will.
Okay, so in other words, let's say over time, let's say argument's sake, I am contracted to write a piece of software, like hypothetical, then as I hand in things, somebody else can come along and actually sign off milestones on the original contract, and that will state how far I am through the project, something to that effect.
Yeah, you could, here's another example. There's recurring billing. So, for example, one of the biggest problems in Bitcoin is that it's hard to do recurring billing. So if you want to, say, pay $20 a month for some website subscription, then in Bitcoin you can't really do that. You can't really set up a transaction where you can remove a maximum of $20 a month. Every transaction has to be either not spent at all or spent completely. Whereas in Ethereum you can do that. You can set up a contract, and then you can in such a way that you can authorize for, say, Netflix to take out a maximum of $20 a month.
Okay, so in other words, then I'm assuming that I would obviously still have to sign that contract as the holder of that account for that thing to become valid. But then the Ethereum, okay, we'll get to the details of how actually Ethereum sort of runs. But then basically what will happen is Ethereum will execute that contract on my behalf, but I have to still sign it.
Yes, you basically have to put your money into the contract first, and then the contract can do with its money whatever it was programmed to do.
Okay, so it's like a contract-specific thing. So if I put some amount of money into the contract, then that basically gets deducted over time. Yeah. All right. Okay. I mean, just on the Netflix example, what, for instance, if I only have $8 worth of whatever currency this thing is denominated in, at the moment, but then by next month, hopefully, I'll get a paycheck, and then I'll actually be able to top up again. How will that contract work?
Yeah. Well, Ethereum can't enforce any kind of debt, so it's not going to let you buy a service before you pay for it. But you definitely can have a contract that keeps on paying $20 a month, and then you just refill it. You could even have So you could even have a contract where there's one contract that you refill, and you can assign multiple entities permission to withdraw some amount per month.